Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. Today's video is one that we do every single month. We are going to be starting off the month strong with my June wrap up. I'll be completely honest, June hasn't been the best reading month for me. I was feeling kind of slumpy. I think there was only like one book this month that I was like really impressed with, that I really enjoyed. No 5 stars, no nothing like that. Well, that's kind of a lie. I guess we ended off the month on a good note, but at the same time, it's not like a book, which you'll understand whenever we get there. We're gonna go ahead and start off by talking about my TBR from last month. I do post a TBR every single month, so go ahead and check those out if you haven't yet. Lately, I've been picking 6 books for my monthly TBR, and my goal is to finish a monthly TBR someday. Still holding out hope, guys. This past month, I only read 4 books for my monthly TBR. I am in the works of reading the 5th one, and then the 6th one will hopefully be getting read this month. I've been kind of doing this thing where like my TBRs roll over a little bit, so I still keep those books like on my immediate TBR if I don't get to them. Just sometimes it takes me longer because I'm filming for videos and all of that kind of stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the stats for the month of June. I read 7 books this month. In our genre breakdown, we had 1 novella, 1 graphic novel, 3 romances, and 2 fantasies. And my monthly page count was 2,334 pages. We're just gonna go ahead and dive right in with all of my thoughts on the books. We're gonna go ahead and start out with the first book that I finished this month, which is Powerful, which is the Powerless novella that came out recently by Lauren Roberts. And if you know anything about me, if you've watched my videos, if you've seen probably even just one video, you have definitely heard me yap and yap and yap about Powerless by Lauren Roberts. So when I figured out that she was releasing a novella, I was so excited. If you don't know anything about Powerless, basically it's in this world where there are elites and there are ordinaries, and the ordinaries are exiled from the kingdom and they are just ordinary people, but elites have power. So it is seen that the ordinaries in the kingdom are infecting the elites and they're going to like diminish the elite race, so that's why when they want to get rid of the ordinaries. And Powerless follows Peyton and Kai. It's dual POV. I'm actually in the process of rereading it right now because the second book, Reckless, comes out at the beginning of next month on July 2nd, and I know you guys are so excited, and I am too. So many of us have been chatting about in the comments of my last few videos. I'm just so excited to read that book. But this novella actually follows Peyton's best friend Adina, and then a brand new character that we're getting introduced to. His name is Makoto, or Mac. This was a really refreshing, nice romantic-y novella. It did focus a lot on the romance just because it is so short. I ended up rating this 4 stars. Now, I don't normally rate novellas, but since it's a part of a series, I feel like it's a little bit different because we do have a little bit of backstory. I know a little bit about my characters. I know the world. It's not just like 60 pages of somebody that I know nothing about and have no connection to. Like, I actually have a connection to Adina and her story because of the connection that I have to Peyton in the other book. So I did go ahead and decide to rate it. I really enjoyed this. I think that if it would have been longer, probably would have been a 5 star. The 2 characters in this book, I really enjoyed. I thought it was very cutesy, and I really enjoyed Adina because, oh my gosh, literally, I have to read the dedication for you guys. So Peyton is like your typical fantasy FMC baddie, right? But Adina is more of a sweet, bubbly, kind, like this super naive and just sweet girl. That's the best way I can really describe it. She doesn't want to go fight or do anything like that. She just wants to live her simple life. She's a seamstress. And the dedication is to the girls with softer dreams. Your purpose is just as powerful. And I really love that, and I really love the message of that. If you know anything about Powerless, you know how there is a pretty sad storyline that happens within that, and that also happens in this one. So this one was a little bit sad, but again, just reinforced my love for this world and also the characters and how connected I am to them. And then I ended up reading Carly Fortune's newest release, which was This Summer Will Be Different. And I have read 2 other of her books, and if you've seen my reviews on those, you'd probably be thinking, Katie, why are you reading another one of her books? Like, you did not like those. And you would be correct, I did not like those at all. Which again, everybody's subject to their own opinion, so if I love a book that you don't like or vice versa, it's all good. Reading is subjective, okay? But I was not a fan of her past 2 books. So when her new release came out and people were raving about it and talking about it a lot, I was like, do I read this or do I not read this? And I decided to read it. And let me just say, I'm glad I did. I actually really enjoyed this one. This Summer Will Be Different is about a girl named Lucy, and she's traveling to the island that her best friend grew up on, and they're gonna like spend some time there together, but she gets there before her best friend does. And she ends up meeting this guy and having a night with him, and then later when her best friend gets there, she figures out that that's her best friend's brother. And neither of them, like her brother or like Lucy, had any idea. And it is like a then and now timeline, and there's like a lot of different time jumps. So you see how like the relationship slowly progresses as we go, because she does visit the island quite a few times with her best friend. And the now timeline, she ends up being there again for one reason or another. And when I tell you, they had so much chemistry, like I could feel the chemistry coming off the page. Felix is the name of her best friend's brother, and I love the best friend's brother trope. I don't know why. I just love it. The tropes in here were good. There was no weird plot line at the end that I didn't enjoy like the other books. And I really enjoy Carly Fortune's writing. I eat up her writing. I think her writing is so bingeable, so easy to read, so easy to go through. Like, she is one of those writers where I could read her entire book in one sitting and not feel bored, not want to put it down. And you know how at the beginning of the video I said how I've been feeling sleepy? I've also been feeling really weird about my book ratings, so there's probably going to be a few ratings that are like in between in this video. So I'm kind of like in between a 3.75 and a 4 right now. I'm not really sure where it lies yet. I just feel like I don't know how to rate books right now for some reason or another. But I did really enjoy this book, and if there's any book you should read by Carly Fortune, highly recommend this one. The next 3 books I'm going to be talking about I actually read in my Taylor Swift Chooses My Reading vlog, which I love that reading vlog so much. It's the longest video I've ever put out, and I'm just so proud of it. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you want to see me reading these videos? No. If you want to see me reading these specific books, like, and my thoughts as I'm reading them and all that kind of stuff, go ahead and check out that video. The first book that I read in that video was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is like a... Did you guys hear that? I swear my upstairs neighbors are the loudest people ever. It literally sounds like they're throwing medicine balls on the floor at almost all times of the day. So... love that for me. Anyways, Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. These are Regency fairy tale fantasies. And Bridgerton season 3 part 2 just recently came out. So when I heard about a Regency fairy tale, I was like, okay, sign me up. This specifically follows Dora, who got half of her soul taken away by a fairy. And ever since then, she has just not really acted like a lot of other people. She's not normal in the eyes of her family. And she certainly does not act normally to a lot of things. But for one reason or another, they end up going to London with her aunt and her cousin Vanessa. Her and Vanessa are super close. Her aunt, we don't vibe with her, okay? And the whole time they're in London, they're doing the Regency thing. They're trying to find husbands. They're trying to act as socialites so they can kind of work their way up in the world. And I don't really want to say anything else because I feel like it would give away like the basic plot of this book. But if you enjoy Bridgerton and you enjoy a good fairy tale, I think that you would enjoy this. And they do speak in that like very proper like English spoken word. I don't know if that's how you would say that, but they do talk like Bridgerton people. So just know that going in. I think that deterred me a lot. I actually read this book so slowly for some reason, and this book had me feeling pretty slumpy until I got towards the very end. The plot twist, I do have to say, is kind of crazy. I did enjoy the plot twist. I thought it was very interesting. And also after I got into the book a little bit more after the setup was laid out, I just think it took way too long for the book to get set up and for me to get into it. But after the setup, there was a plot line that happened that I thought was also very interesting, and I kind of like the whole message of the book. It also has a very whimsical vibe. There's also another character in here called the Lord Sorcier, and I really liked him. He had me like giggling and kicking my feet at a few points. The romance in here is so good too. It's very historical romance where they like barely touch, and it's like they're barely touching, like they love each other type of thing, and I just kind of like ate that up. I think I'm gonna rate this like a 3.75 or a 4. Again, I don't know. If you guys want to know my final ratings on something, definitely check out my Goodreads. I end up rating my books kind of like as I go, as I figure out what I want to rate them, and lately I've been very slow on my ratings, so bear with me. I found whenever I've been reading other people's reviews that it's very hit or miss for people, so just go in with an open mind. Okay, and then after that, I read a book that kind of got me out of my slump, and I really enjoyed this book. This book was almost a 5-star, like it was literally this close, and that is The Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli. This book kind of came out of nowhere and has blown up all over BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram. I've seen so many different people talking about it, and I just ate this up. It's basically an enemies to lovers romantasy, which you know those always blow up, but they're just so good. Like they hit every time. This book is dual POV. We are following Rune, who is a witch in a land where witches are exiled, and so if they find you, that's kind of it. And by day, Rune is posing as a young socialite who just cares about having the best gowns and jewels and the finest things in life. But by night, she is the Crimson Moth, and she goes and she saves witches from, why do I want to say from their doom? I don't know why. She saves witches from their doom, okay? And then we also follow Gideon Sharp, who is the leader of the Blood Guard, which is basically the people in charge of getting rid of the witches, okay? And basically the book leads to them having like a courtship that will mutually benefit the both of them, but then it may or may not turn into something a little bit more real than the reasons that they're doing it for. I ate this book up. The writing was so easy to go through. It wasn't confusing like a lot of fantasy books do. You just kind of like dive right into the world, and it's so easy to understand. This is going to be my newest book that I recommend to like all new fantasy readers, because truly it was, I just love this book. I flew through it. I loved it. I rated this a 4.75. It was so close to a 5-star. The ending was just not my favorite. And I know, you know, there's supposed to be another book, and that's why it ended that way. And I also kind of like guessed the plot twist as we went along, but I also really enjoyed that I guessed the plot twist, because I kind of was like sleuthing as we went along. I was like, this is gonna happen. And then she kept on like laying out clues, and I just like absolutely loved that. I thought it was really cool what she did with the plot twist, and the romance in here was so good. There are so many little things that he does in here that I'm not gonna share because I want you guys to enjoy them as much as I did and not have them spoiled for you. But just the little things that he did for her, he truly went above and beyond, showing that he truly cared for her. And I truly could not get enough of this book. Like, I am so excited for the second one. I think it actually comes out on my birthday next year, which I am so excited about. And if you enjoyed Powerless like I did, I think you would really enjoy this. It's very similar, but also not. Like, there's no trials, but it's really, really high stakes, enemies to lovers. It's just, it's really, really good. If there's one book that you get out of this video, let it be this one. The last book that I read in that video was Powerless by Elsie Silver. When I was talking about Powerless just a second ago, I was talking about Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is a different Powerless. This is the third book in the Chestnut Spring series by Miss Elsie Silver. This one follows Jasper and Sloane, and it's dual POV. These are cowboy romances. If you haven't heard about them, I have been flying through these. I think I've read one each month for the past 3 months. Now, this one doesn't follow a cowboy. Jasper is actually a hockey player, but he actually grew up on the ranch with the boys, and he's kind of like an honorary Eaton brother. And Sloane is a cousin to the Eaton brothers who live on the ranch. So every summer whenever they're younger, Sloane would come and spend an entire month in Chestnut Springs and be with her cousins and also with Mr. Jasper. This is a childhood best friends to lovers. And with these two, it seems like nobody understands each other the way that these two do. The way he drops everything to be with her whenever she's in her time of need, and like low-key kind of like whisks her away and saves her from her life, is just kind of everything. The first 100 pages of this book too specifically was literally like a reality show. Like, I literally sat down with popcorn. I'm not lying. I sat down with popcorn and was enjoying this like the Kardashians or Love Island. Like, I ate the first 100 pages up. But then after that, I kind of got slumpy again, which I don't think is this book's fault, but it is just a casualty to my current book slump. And I think it's because the one thing that I wish we got was more flashbacks. I honestly wish this was an Then and Now timeline. We do get a few flashbacks to what things were like back in the day, but not really. Like, if you would have shown me more moments of them whenever they were children, and like having cute and sweet moments where they were like just being like super sweet to each other and being best friends and all of that kind of stuff, this would have been a 5-star. This would have been a 5-star. But it became too lusty for me because I just didn't care as much about the connection, because it just kind of like almost seemed to be forgotten, which is crazy to say because I enjoyed the first 100 pages so much, and like the connection seems to be super deep, but I just feel like I wasn't really explained that enough, or like I was told it but I wasn't shown it enough. These books are very spicy too, I will say, so just know that going in. If spice is not for you, do not read these books. And I am a tension over spice girly any day, and I do love some good spice, but there has to be enough tension and enough build up for me to fully enjoy the spice, and I think there just wasn't enough of that in this book. I think I'm gonna rate this like a 3.5 or a 3.75. I originally rated this a 4, but I just don't think it's a 4, which is really, really sad. And it has nothing to do with Jasper and Sloane. It's just the fact that I really, really wanted way more of them whenever they were growing up and like back in the day. I feel like that's the best way to do childhood best friends to lovers. Okay, the next book that I read was The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I have heard so much about this book over honestly like the past like year-ish. I can't remember exactly whenever it came out, but people have been yapping about this book for so long, so I was like, okay, Katie, come on, like it's time to read it. This is basically about a girl named Hannah, and she is a professional bodyguard, and she ends up getting assigned to this case for this very famous actor named Jack Stapleton. He is like the Hollywood it guy. Like, think Chris Evans. That's Jack Stapleton right now. He's in tons of action movies and just a super popular actor. Like, people will see him on the street and know who he is. But he needs her right now because he has a stalker, so she's kind of like watching over him and her whole team is watching over him. But she isn't just a normal bodyguard for him. She's actually staged as his current girlfriend. So there's fake dating, which you guys know that is one of my favorite tropes. I eat up fake dating every single time, no matter how much they do it, no matter if there's miscommunication, I eat it up. And this book was no different. The way that Jack and Hannah's connection slowly deepened and you got to like watch it happen as you went, and this is definitely a he fell first moment. It was just so cute. There's so many very sweet and wholesome moments in this one. There's also like a little bit of mystery too, which was kind of cool. I ended up rating this a 4-star. This is just a good romance book. This is a solid romance book. There were also like a lot of deep topics talked about, and I really enjoyed like the general plot of the book, so I feel like this is just a really good now I'm thinking, I'm like, is it a 4.25? This is the problem. I literally have an issue right now and I don't know what to do, but that's fine. If you're looking for a good summer read, highly recommend. Okay, and then the last book that I read this month was Heartstopper Volume 5. If you want to see me read this book, go ahead and check out my last video, which was the ultimate book video I just uploaded. These are graphic novels, and this is the 5th one in the series, and these follow Nick and Charlie. Charlie is openly gay at his school, and he gets a lot of slack for it, to be completely honest, and him and Nick eventually end up becoming friends, and things kind of just go from there. These books are YA, so it's held during high school, and it's actually in the UK, and the thing that I love most about these, actually, that's false. There's a lot of things that I love so much about these. Number one being that obviously it's a graphic novel, so it's illustrated. So I get to see the characters while they're talking. I get to see them while they're experiencing specific moments, and I feel like that just adds to the experience. It makes it so much more of an immersive reading experience. And I think that in my head, like, it makes the characters just more real. Like, it makes them come to life. And another thing is that, again, they are YA, but I think they talk about such important things that a lot of people who are going through high school don't get the chance to talk about. They feel weird talking about. They don't really get represented enough for them, and I think that this does a great job of representing that for the younger age group. So if you haven't read these yet, I highly recommend them, especially if you are currently in high school or junior high. I think that if you're not currently going through these things, you will in the future. And one, it'll make you feel less alone. And two, it could probably help you with how to help your friends deal with these things, or other people that you know that will probably experience these things also in the future. I just think these are so good, and I now want to read everything else that Alice Oseman has ever come out with. If you guys have recommendations for what I should read next out of all of her work, let me know in the comments down below. This is definitely a 5-star. Heartstopper is a 5-star series for me. I don't really know how to rate graphic novels. I know like the first 2 were 4, I think. The 3rd was a 4.5. The 4th and the 5th are 5. I just feel such a deep connection for these characters, and I just literally, like, Nick and Charlie are so perfect. I love them so much, and I just want to give both of them the biggest hugs ever. Like, I just love them. Also, if you guys know anywhere to get special editions of these, please leave that in the comments down below as well, because I'm itching to get a special edition. Okay, anyways, those are all 7 of the books that I read in the month of June. Hoping for a better reading month in July and to feel a little bit less slumpy, and not just to read for videos, but also find some books that I'm just like really going to enjoy. I feel like the ratings this month were not as well, but we did end off the month with a bang. So at the end of the day, it is a win. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and comment down below the rainbow emoji so I know who the real ones are who watch until the very end. And if you want to keep up with me on the daily, go ahead and follow me on my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Goodreads especially if you want to keep up with what I'm reading in real time and my ratings. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. And I think that's it. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Hopefully gonna have a great July reading month. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. And my monthly page count was 2,334. I can't speak. If there's music,